My name is emmalao, and this is Planning Ahead, a one-stop podcast for people who love journaling, productivity, wellness, and creativity. In this episode, I interviewed Alaina from The Organized Money. We discuss her planning journey and methods, and she has some amazing advice for beginners and experienced planners looking to try something new. All of her info can be found in the description, so please check her stuff out. I absolutely loved our conversation, so without further ado, here it is. It's so nice to be speaking with you. Why don't we start with you just telling everyone who you are and what you do?
Hi, so my name is Alaina Fingal, and I am the owner of a company called The Organized Money. The Organized Money is a company that helps people learn how to plan their life and manage their money through a paper planner. So a lot of times I am sharing different tips and strategies that I use with my paper planner on my YouTube channel and on Instagram to show people practical ways to set up their life in order to be more organized.
Awesome. So what is the exact name of your YouTube channel, just so people can look you up right away?
Yeah, so it's called The Organized Money. I'm on YouTube and I am on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active. I also have a Facebook group as well, and it's all under The Organized Money.
All right, awesome. So I guess just to start off, I'd like to know, when did you start your planning journey? Because some people have like crazy stories of like their life being kind of completely unorganized and going to obviously like such a big change. So I would really like to know your personal journey.
Yeah, so my journey is actually very different. I started off pretty early. I started with my first planner in the 5th grade. So I got a planner. You know how they used to give those school agendas? I don't believe that they do that anymore. But in the 5th grade, I got my first school agenda and I was absolutely in love with it, even though I didn't really have any plans at that time. I used to just color in it and write my name. I didn't really have anything to put in it, but I loved it because throughout my life, I always like struggled with anxiety and just being overwhelmed in school and just different points in my life. And my planner became a hobby and also gave me this true sense of peace that nothing else did. So I have been planning probably since I was 10 years old, but it's been off and on. I haven't been consistent my entire life. There was a period where I tried to do through my phone and use apps, and I failed horribly. So I went back to the planner, and now that I have settled into just being who I am through a planner, because I think that every planner girl has that moment in life where people feel like you need to be more adult and use your phone and try and be more tech savvy. But in the end, we just realized, let's just be us and come back to the planner. And so I came back to my planner really, really heavily in 2017, and I started my YouTube channel then. And it became a business kind of on its own, more organically, because I was just sharing tips and strategies, and then people were asking questions, and it kind of grew from there.
When you were mentioning the school planners, I was actually thinking back at how much I love those things, even though I pretty much only use them for school. But I remember when I didn't get one starting in high school, I was like, that's when things started going downhill in the organization life there. And also the way that you mentioned how like you have to feel more adult, or like there's kind of this pressure, especially in like the productivity community. Like I know Matt D'Avella just came out with like his productivity routine, and a lot of it is digital, which I know it's super practical because like you don't have to worry about losing it. You could share it with other people, but there's just something that's lost there.
And I actually watched that exact video. And I know that, a lot of times when I'm watching these videos, I'm watching these people on Notion, on Evernote, and they have these really tech savvy ways of doing everything through Google Docs and through their Google Calendar, and everything's linked. And it seems so amazing. But for me, my brain just doesn't connect with it. My brain doesn't click for me. And so I know that it takes much longer because, I'll get those comments. This would be so much easier if you just did it through your phone. This would be so much faster. You could find your notes if you didn't use the notebook. I've heard all of the comments, but I know that there are people who are just like me, that it just doesn't work. It doesn't click. And the pen and the paper, it works for you. It connects with you. You feel more at peace with pen and paper. You're less distracted with pen and paper. Mm-hmm. And so that's the method that I teach, because I'm just talking to those people who are just like me that need that planner.
Yeah. And I feel like using a pen and paper too, it's like, if you have just like a time of day when you do it, it's like a ritual. Like like you mentioned having anxiety earlier, and like, I struggle with like depression as well, especially seasonal depression. So I'm like, oh, thank God it's getting nicer out. But just even just taking the time, even if I'm just time blocking or writing to-do notes, it's kind of like a therapy in a way, where I have a security. I know that this is what I'm doing next, that you don't really get when you're just like typing it out, or even like setting it up and then it just repeats every week.
Just so true.
Yeah,
so
just
true.
reminding you in the moment.
The routine of it all, having your coffee, sitting down, taking a moment, even if you I have a journal, writing in my journal, and it causes me to pay more attention if I'm writing out the words. I'm more connected to what I have to do when I'm writing out this to-do list. And even when I'm time blocking my day, I feel more connected to what I have to do. I feel more prepared. It's different than just checking my phone really quick to see what's coming up next. I feel like I have this entire system that was built by me, that's set up by me, that was written down by me. And I feel like I'm much more prepared, which actually eases my anxiety. And I feel better overall and more ready for anything that comes up,
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited because like when you're saying this, I'm like, I 100% get you. I'm on the same page. So I guess moving on to the next segment, what is your daily planning ritual look like?
So I start off in the morning. When I first wake up, I have like this routine that I'll do. I have kids. I have two little girls. They are 7 and 9 right now. So we still have a set routine for them to get ready for school and all of that. So during that time, I am not looking at my planner. It's just like a set thing that I do every single morning. Once I get them out the door, and I work from home. So once I come into my office, this is where my planning routine begins. I sit at my desk, I have a cup of coffee, and then I open up my planner. So I use a happy planning system called like franken-planning. If you've never heard of franken-planner system before, it's basically based off of the Frankenstein. If you've ever heard of Frankenstein, how he took the parts and he made it into something new. So franken-planning is when you take multiple planners and you basically take them apart and make one big planner. So I have 7 planners that are broken down into my schedule. And then I have my faith planner, my budget planner, my home and health planner, my reading planner, and I have my budget planner. So all this entire system where I keep all of these planners together, I flip through, and it takes me about 30 minutes to get through each one of them. So I'm going through each one and I'm looking at what I have to do. So I'll start off with my schedule, then I'll go into my business, I'll write down my prayers for the day, then I'll go into my overall budget and look at my money. So it's like I'm looking at each area that is important to me for my life. And I always tell people, oh, do you need 7? You definitely don't. You need to think about the areas that are important to you. Your areas might be only 4. Maybe you only have business, home, and then maybe your schedule. That might be it for you. But knowing what is important to you, dividing it up, and then setting aside a little time in the morning, 10 minutes, where you spend in each area of your life that's important to you, and looking at that area and making sure that you're taking steps toward the goals that you have in that area. So that's what I do with all 7 of those sections. every single morning. And like I said, it takes me about 30 to 45 minutes every single morning, but it is my best time of the day. I absolutely love it. So I do it in the morning, and then I do a check-in around noon where it's just like, I'm just kind of checking in to see what I did in that morning. And then I do it again in the evening as I'm preparing for the next day. So there are 3 points in time where I will just kind of check in with my planner and see where I am.
That's yeah, I watched a when I was watching your videos, I mean I stuck with the Hobonichi cousin just because it's kind of like I feel like I am so not creative, which is a little bit crazy because like I did graduate with an art degree, but I felt like I needed that that kind of like what's it called? Like a canvas that wasn't completely blank. Like blank enough where I could do what I wanted with it. But enough where I had some sort of structure.
Yeah.
But like looking at your videos and seeing like how much you can really branch out. I mean, I always suggest for beginners that they start small because even just like a Hobonichi or just a regular planner, it can be a lot for someone to keep up with. But once you start like with one, the more you branch, like you make these good habits, and then you can just branch out and just organize the rest of your life. So I think it's incredible. You have 7 planners that you're keeping on top of, and then at the same time you're making a business out of it. So
and the thing is that I did not always have 7. I must say I definitely started with 1, and actually, if you go back to maybe like 2018, around that time, I did an entire video where I showed how I did all 7 areas in one planner, because at that time, that was all I could keep up with. And you have to know the seasons of your life also, because there were certain seasons where all I could keep up with was 1. When my children were really small, when I had newborns, I could not do multiple planners at all. So knowing the seasons, knowing what's best for you, and then you may say, you know what, I don't need this much because I don't have that much going on. All I need is 1. There is no wrong answer here. You can have as many or as least as you want. You just need to know and figure out and experiment, see what's best for you.
Yeah, I think the note on like knowing the seasons of your life is really important, because I think last year was the first year where I used a Hobonichi and I like was planning again, you know, pretty religiously in a way. But once the quarantine hit, I just like dropped off. Like there were so many blank pages, but I think looking back on that, at the time I was like being hard on myself. I'm like, oh, I really should fill out these pages, but I'm like, wait, what is it about? Like, this is for me.
Right.
And second of all, like it was a hard time for everyone. So I think as for you, like being a new mother, like that, you know, you have a million things to worry about already. And while, you know, planning is supposed to be there to simplify things, it should not be a source of stress or worry or another thing to tick off. Like it should only be there to be a source of joy. And
and it's supposed to be like the thing that helps you, right? So when my kids were small, even with my planner, there was no schedule because they were small. I was at their mercy. Whenever they slept, I slept. It was like, you know, I'm trying to work around them. The only thing I used for my planner for at that time was writing down their things that I would take with me to the doctor, when they ate last times, just so I could keep up with the different things that I needed for their doctor's visit. Other than that, my schedule was not in there. Nothing else was in there. I didn't have dinner. I didn't have meal plans. I didn't have any of that because it was like all over the place. But that was the one thing that I needed it for at that time. And it was the only thing that was keeping me sane. So if you weren't using your planner during the pandemic, don't beat yourself up. Everyone was going through it. And even if you only wrote down the weather the entire time that, you know, you were in quarantine, that's fine too. We can always go back to it.
Yeah, that's great. I'm feeling so happy that we're having like this conversation, because it's like, again, everything's like on the same page, and I'm hoping that like the viewers of this as well feel the same way. So moving on to the this is actually an interesting one, because I see on your channel there's a lot of books that you read that I also read and I really, really liked. So if you could pick one, I mean, book, podcast, blog, what is the most influential piece of media to the way that you live your life now? And even if it's not necessarily planner related, I guess.
So there's so many, but I would definitely say out of all of the planning systems, the Getting Things Done book was it was like mind blowing for me. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the exact, like developing an inbox system, figuring out like the entire system of getting things done was definitely my first one. My second one though, I have to say is Atomic Habits. I loved,
Oh, I don't have
loved,
it here. It's over
love,
there.
I love that book. It was
Mhm.
such a great book. Just talking about how to like break bad habits, bring in the good ones. And it was another one that really, really transformed me. So it would probably be like a combination for the two, because getting things done kind of gave me a procedure for my overall planning system. And
Mhm.
Atomic Habits kind of helped me with developing the habits that I needed to make sure I actually used the planning system that I had set up. So it's like them together really kind of worked in order to help me become like with my productivity system as a whole.
Yeah, I know. Atomic Habits is one that like I constantly go back to because
Mhm.
especially like the Hobonichi has a habit tracker in the front, and that's where a lot of people are like having questions like, oh, how do you fill out your habit tracker so much? I'm like, the steps are so clear
Yeah.
and they're just lined out, and you can just apply it. The implementation intention is right there. You fill in the blanks. So yeah, that is also an incredible book. So yeah, and I've actually never I've never read Getting Things Done, so I
Oh
definitely
my
have to do that.
goodness. You will love it. I'm telling you, you will love it. The system, the way that he lays it out, you'll just be like, oh, this makes perfect sense. And you can like set it up and put that exact system in your planner. I promise you, you'll love it.
I will definitely
Trust
do
me.
that and make a video out of
Yeah.
it. Um, okay, what do you think was one of the biggest mistakes that you've made in your planning journey, or even like maybe your finance journey too? Because I know a big focus of your channel is also finance and planning for finance. So, what do you think is one of the biggest mistakes you've made?
So I know definitely with my planning journey, when I first got on YouTube and was planning, I used to try and watch a bunch of different videos and try to like automatically fit someone else's system into
Mhm.
mine. Like, oh, this is pretty, so I got to get this. Like, right? Just because it's pretty, not because it might actually work for or against my life. I just want it. And so I realized that I was just kind of like I was afraid of just settling into my system. So this system that I have set up, I have been using for about a year and probably like a year and a half. That is the longest time I've ever stuck with an actual system. And it's mainly because I started with Happy Planner, and then I would see something on Erin Condren and I would jump over there. And there was nothing wrong with my planner. I loved my planner. I just saw something and I just decided to go over here. Or I would see a passion planner. I'm like, oh, let me try passion planner. Oh, if I see this, let me try over there. And so I was jumping ship a lot for no reason at all, because my planner was working for me. I was using it consistently. It was doing exactly what it needed to do, but I was struggling with FOMO. Like
Mhm.
anything new and pretty that came out, I instantly wanted to buy it just because it was new and pretty, but not even thinking about, did it actually fit my life or fit my overall system? So
Mm.
that was on the planning journey side. I definitely had to learn how to let go of the FOMO and realize that, just because a new planner comes out in July, my planner goes to December. I don't need it. Like, it's okay if I miss this particular planner for this season, letting that go. And then on the finances side, that kind of helped hand in hand with that, making sure I don't spend too much money on planner stuff.
Yeah, it
But
can really add up.
because it can definitely add up. And the other side of that was in my financial journey was I was very hard on myself in the beginning of my financial journey. I wanted to run before I walked. I wanted all of my money to be great. I wanted to save a bunch of money. I wanted to pay off debt. I wanted everything to be in place at one time.
Mhm.
And I had to realize that my financial journey was a marathon and not a sprint. I wasn't going to get it all done in one time, right? I had to take my time with it, and I had to give myself some grace. So I was, really hard on myself in the beginning. And then I learned over time, over reading, looking at different books. and just learned how to give myself grace and let it go and know that it will come. You're going to make some mistakes, but don't worry, you'll get there.
Yeah, I think that's really good, like words of wisdom, because I feel like especially like so many college kids, because college debt is just going to be like hanging over their head for the almost what seems like the rest of their life. But there are there are ways to change that, and it's going to be okay. Yeah, and I also I feel like I struggle with just being a little hard on myself, because like I've been working since I was 13 years old, so I'm very aware of what money is. So it's like even if I just buy a coffee at Dunkin', I'm like, oh my God, like I can't afford. It's like I can afford this. It'll be okay.
I used to do that too. I used to be like, oh, Starbucks, you can't do this, you can't. And I'm like, wait, why not? You definitely can. Make some room in your budget for fun. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Money is here also for us to enjoy and still live life. It's not just for us to save and pay off debt.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I think Dave. I know you have referenced Dave Ramsey in some of your videos, which I really do love his system, but I also feel like there's when I listen to his podcast too much or I like reread his book, then I get that pressure of like, I need to start now. But I'm like, wait, I don't have any debt right now. I'm fine. I can chill. I can chill for a little bit. So yeah, I think being kind to yourself and being graceful and, knowing that, obviously being thankful for what you have, but knowing that things can and will get better is definitely a great mindset to have.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of going into that, how do you incorporate wellness into planning? Because I mean, we talked about how there can be pressure to keep up with a planner, but also it can be really like a good way to alleviate stress. And I know you have a faith planner, which I'm sure definitely helps with that. So I just like to get your input on how you incorporate wellness into planning.
So there are two areas of my life where I feel like my wellness is huge. And the first one is my health planner. It's considered my personal planner because it's kind of combining home and health. And then my other one is my faith planner. So with my spiritual journey, I do take time every single morning. I will meditate, I will journal, I will pray, and I will write in my faith planner. And, I might be meditating on certain scriptures. I might be just taking time out to read. But what my planner does for me in that moment is it's my reminder to stop, right? To just pay attention, to be thankful, to have gratitude, to write that thing down in my planner, because I would just take that particular day and I will go to that month and I'll just write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. It causes me to be present. And I enjoy that time because I don't think without my planner, I'm not sure that I would take that moment to actually stop and do it. But my planner reminds me, hey, be present. Look, this faith planner is telling you be present and pay attention right this very second. The other side of it is my health planner. So with my health planner is where I am keeping track of overall things that I am eating. I'm keeping track of my sleep. I'm keeping track of, when I work out and those different types of things. And I shared this on my YouTube channel because I was struggling with sleep a lot. Like I wasn't able to sleep and I was like, what's going on? I was like having a bunch of aches in my body. And I was like, I don't really understand what's going on. So I started just tracking different things that I was eating, tracking like when I was having bad nights. And I ended up taking my planner with me to my doctor. And with us like going through the different things that I was eating, he was able to tell me that dairy, like every time I ate dairy, I had a bad night. He was saying the dairy was actually inflaming my muscles, which was causing like an extreme tightness in my shoulder and in my neck, which was causing me to have bad nights. I couldn't put it together. And we're going through different things. But once he saw the track in my planner, he was like, we were like looking at my planner, flipping through the pages together. He was able to make the diagnosis on the spot. So that helped my quality of sleep, which helped, I cut out dairy. My sleep got better. I had more energy throughout the day. I was able to be more productive. And there are certain habits that I talk about that are essential habits. So those essential habits help your quality of life, right? So things like sleep, what you're eating, how much you're working out, that helps your health, with helps everything else in your life, right? You won't be able to be productive on your job unless you're healthy. You won't be able to do other things, be with your family, have fun, all of those things if you aren't healthy. So those are essential habits that I like to keep track in my planner. So those types of things, and as far as like going to the spa even and taking a break and getting, just enjoying different days, having family days, those types of things are things that I keep in that planner that make sure that I take time out for things that are important.
Yeah, I think taking out time, and you mentioned family as well. One of my habits that I'm tracking right now is social. It's not
Hmm.
that I need to force myself to, it's not like, oh gosh, I have to talk to my friends. No, it's
Yeah.
just a reminder that like, hey, tell the people that you love them because
Yeah. Yeah.
otherwise like we're just going to continue on, especially since you can't really see people that much right now. So I think it's just such a good reminder, not only to, let people in your life know that you love them, but also for yourself, take time for
Yeah,
yourself.
and life happens, right? Like I know, with me, I have my husband, I have kids. It's so easy to get caught up in, with husband and kids, and then you start forgetting about friends, and you're like, man, it's been 2 months and I haven't talked to my friend. I need to call, and then it will just kind of end up lingering
Mm.
unless you put it in your planner. Like when I put it in my planner, I will set time out. Okay, once a month, I'm going to see my friends. Once a month, every single Saturday, we have family days. So that's the time I'm spending with my family. But then I also set aside specific times where I call my friends and I'm like, hey, what are you doing this Saturday? I have a free day. Can we do dinner? Can we hook up? Can we get on Zoom and just, have wine and just talk to each other, right? So it causes you to reflect on things that are important to you
Mm.
and make sure that you plan them.
Yeah, I think that's all great. So I think these were all super like deep and meaningful conversations. So it feels a little bit weird to kind of shift gears a little bit. But what is a planning product that you have been using lately that you just can't live without? Do you have any
Oh
like
my
top
goodness.
products that you have? And I know you have your own Etsy shop too, so feel free to plug away because I took a look at that. I'm like, I'm probably gonna.
So yeah, let's see. I have a couple. So I have like habit tracker monthly stickers that I use that are like I have to have them. So what I'll do is I put the habit that I really, really want to focus on for a particular month. I will take that sticker, I will put it on an insert inside my planner, and then I check off for the entire month to make sure that I am completing that habit. So that's my very like top thing that I absolutely love. And I also always have a black pen and a red pen with every planner that I ever carry. I'm always carrying around. It's the Papermate Ink Joy 0.7 pen in black and in red. So I will write down all of my plans in black. I am always writing down the things that I have set in black,
Mm.
but then I go back with a red pen when that day actually is happening, and then
Mm.
I will like check off if it actually happened, and if it didn't happen or something else happened instead, I will write down in red what happened. This has helped me out so much in planning better in the future, because I will be, if I just write everything in black, then I don't really understand what happened throughout the course of the day. But when I see those changes in red, then I'm like, okay, I know I need to plan this better out next week, because last week I had to change this and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that because of whatever. So it is helped me plan better. So my black and red pen, Papermate Ink Joy 0.7, and my habit trackers.
I love that because it's like you don't need to order like something special. You can go to Staples and you can start like planning right away with the system. So I really
Right.
appreciate that. And that is something I need to do as well. I have so many different colors pens, and I try to be as colorful as possible. When I'm writing my plans, I always stick to black for some reason. So
Yeah.
I really should just take that advice and like really outline, because I know there was someone, I'm trying to remember. I saw an interview where someone like they would write out their plan, and then at the end of the day, they would write whether a task energized them, drained them, or was
Mhm.
neutral. So I think that's kind of maybe another way that you could add on to that, just figuring out how to improve your days, how to improve your work method, or, fit more things in there or fit
Yeah.
less things in there. Cause I feel like that's also very important.
And that's a great tactic, because I know, a lot of times when we're talking about priorities, we try and do those hard things first, the things that, you need to get out of the way that you are important to you. And so like I'll set up my top priorities at the top. But if I'm able to write down what energized me and what didn't, that's even better. I love that. I might take that one.
Yeah, I did it before, and it was like really useful to get out of that rut. It was the rut when I was like doing during like the beginning of the pandemic, which is over a year now. Anyway,
Wow. Yeah.
like, I was just in that rut there. I'm like, I really need to just like whip myself in shape, and like I started Pomodoro. I started doing that, and when I got strict with it, then things just started going up.
That's a good one.
Okay, so we're already at 30 minutes. So I guess my last question for you before you can plug all your stuff, because I definitely want to promote you. You have such a good channel and good Etsy shop and everything. But if you could give 3 pieces of advice to someone who is starting to plan, what would you say to them? Someone who's maybe like their only experience was with a school planner. Maybe they didn't even use that much. What 3 pieces of advice would you give to someone who wants to start but doesn't know where?
So the very first thing that I would tell you to do is don't buy anything yet. Let's hold off. But I want you to brain dump. I want you to write down all the reasons of why you need this planner and what it's going to do for you. So the example is, okay, do you need to use this planner for work? Are you going to use it for home? Are you going to use it? What is it going to, are you just managing your schedule, or are you going to keep your schedule on your phone and you just want to track things in it? Knowing the purpose of this overall planner, it's going to help you select a better planner. Because if you're going to use your calendar and your phone, then you may not need to pick up the hourly planner from Erin Condren or from Happy Planner or anything like that. You may want to get a vertical size planner where you could just keep that track of lists or tasks. But that's the very first thing that you want to do. Do some type of brain dump where you're just writing down all of the things that you want this planner to do. Next thing that I want you to do is, now that you have your list, you have your full list of all of these different things that you want this planner to do, then you can start your research. So you could go to YouTube, you start looking on Pinterest, you start looking for ideas and different things that will inspire you. Look at other YouTubers' channel. That's why we're there. We want to help you find your overall system. And then, so you're going to write down your brain dump, then you're going to start doing your research, and you're going to write down the pros and cons of each and everything that you are finding. So if you like a customizable system, let's say you want something where you can take out the pages, you might do something like a ring bound system, or you may do a disc bound system like the Happy Planner. If you say, you know what, that's too much for me, I need something really, really simple, then you might do a bound book like Passion Planner. You might do a Hobonichi, you might do a Erin Condren where it's spiral. You need to just figure out what this planner is going to do for you. First of all, how you like to customize it, if it needs to be customizable, or if you want something really, really simple. And then the next thing that you're going to do is experiment. Not buying the planner yet, but try and print out layouts on Google. So I recommend people to always go to Google, look up the Happy Planner layout, look up the Erin Condren layout, try and look at those different types of layouts, print them out, and try and experiment with them. And then that way you can kind of settle into something before you spend $70 on this planner, $40 on this planner, $50 on this planner, only to find that those don't work for you. So try and print out. They have so many free printables out there on planning systems where you can try different systems out before you purchase. And then once you are writing something up and you settle on it, then you purchase.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was so clear. And I think anyone who is looking for this, I'm going to just like link them right to this timestamp in this video, because that was like a perfect explanation. It's so exciting to like start researching and figuring out. I don't know. I didn't even think to print it out. I was just like sketching out stuff in notebooks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what I'm going to do in the habit tracker. This is what I'm going to do in the weekly. So that is really an exciting process. And you really outlined it perfectly.
Thank you.
So just to wrap up this interview, why don't you let everyone know where we can find all of your stuff?
Yes. So you can follow me, The Organized Money. You can find me on Instagram. I post there every single day. You can also find me on YouTube under The Organized Money. I post on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday over there. And I also have a free financial class that I do every single Monday. It's called Money Monday. And if you go to the link in my Instagram bio, you can register for free. It's every single Monday, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. And it's a 1-hour class where we jump on and we're talking about planning your life and managing your money. I'm always giving different tips and strategies on how to plan better and how to budget better.
All right. Thank you so much for interviewing or coming to do an interview with me. I'm so happy that you're actually the first guest on this podcast. So I'm so happy that it was actually you, because you were one of the first people that that showed up in my YouTube journaling, and you're just as nice and sweet as you would think talking to you. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. And all of the links to your social website, all of that's in the description. So if you're trying to look for that, look below, it'll be down there. Yeah, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That's super insightful stuff. Thank you so much for listening to the second episode of Planning Ahead. If you liked what you heard, please like and subscribe. We will have more interviews like these, which we will provide plenty of wonderful insights on journaling, planning, productivity, and wellness. Please comment below and let me know what your favorite insight was. Again, all of the links to Alaina's channel and social media is in the description, so please check those out if you'd like to see more from her. Until next time.